Welcome back to the deep dive. We've got a fascinating journey ahead looking at, well, a real icon of the RC world.
Definitely. We're talking about the Tamiya Blackfoot. And it wasn't just another RC truck, you know?
Yeah,
It was huge.
absolutely. You sent over a ton of material, history spanning decades, and our mission really is to stitch it all together. We want to create the definitive guide for anyone interested in this truck.
Right. It landed back in 1986, which was like peak monster truck mania in the real world. You had Bigfoot, Gravedigger. Tamiya basically let everyone bring that massive truck feel home. It was brilliant timing.
So for this deep dive, we're aiming for meticulous detail. We'll track the whole family tree, hitting every specific model number, looking at what made each one tick, technically speaking.
And crucially, we're putting together a ranked list of hop-ups, the essential upgrades to take these trucks from maybe a bit fragile to genuinely tough bashers.
Yeah, that's key because the Blackfoot story starts with this fundamental contradiction, doesn't it?
It really does. It was loved for its looks, its character, that amazing scale detail. But oh boy, the mechanical problems were legendary. They were just baked into the design from day one.
The flaws are part of the charm in a weird way.
Exactly. So let's dig into that. Let's kick off with section 1, the genesis of the legend. We're talking the original ORV chassis era, roughly 1986 through 97.
Okay, the very beginning.
The original icon. It launched October 8th, 1986. And for collectors, the key number is Kit No 58058.
58058, got it. And technically, it sat on Tamiya's ORV chassis. That's off-road vehicle, right?
Correct, the ORV space frame. It actually borrowed that from the Tamiya Frog buggy, which was already pretty popular.
But the Blackfoot version looked different. That chassis wasn't the usual gray or white plastic, was it?
No, and that was a masterstroke. Tamiya molded the mainframe parts in this incredibly vibrant, aggressive red ABS plastic. Just seeing that red frame screamed, monster truck. It was pure fun, visually.
And then there was the body shell, not just a simple piece of Lexan.
Oh, far from it. This was a multi-part styrene hardbody. A really detailed scale replica of a Ford F-150 flare-side pickup. And crucially, it had the officially licensed over AD letters stamped right on the hood and the tailgate.
That Ford licensing, that's a huge deal for collectors today, isn't it?
Massive. An unbuilt, unpainted original 580 over 50 body. You're talking serious money now, hundreds maybe.
Just for the body.
Okay, so it looked incredible. But let's get to the nuts and bolts. Why was the 580 U58, famously fragile? What kept breaking?
The drivetrain, it was notoriously weak. Inside the gearbox, the differential used these little bevel gears made of what's commonly called pot metal.
Pot metal, so cheap, brittle alloy.
Exactly. A very low melting point, not very strong. Under any real load, like landing a jump or even just hard acceleration, those gears would just flex or strip.
And that's when you'd hear
the click, that infamous soul-destroying clicking sound. That meant your diff was letting go. Game over for that run, usually.
ouch. And it wasn't just the diff, right? No, compounding the problem were the drive shafts. The original used hexagonal ends. People call them dog bones. They were also pretty soft and would wear down fast, rounding off the hex shape.
So you lose drive. Power from the motor wasn't actually reaching the wheels.
Precisely. It was frustrating. But here's the fascinating part. That weakness, paradoxically, kind of became its strength.
How so?
It forced owners to fix it.
Yeah.
You had to become a mechanic, a tinker. You had to figure out how to make it better. And that created this amazing community, this culture of modification.
Ah, right. So the aftermarket part scene basically exploded because of the Blackfoot's problems.
Absolutely. Companies like MIP Moore's Ideal Products and CRP, they built their entire reputations solving the Blackfoot's drivetrain issues. They provided the bulletproof solutions Tamiya didn't initially.
But Tamiya did eventually respond, right? They started evolving the platform.
They did. Which brings us to the first major revision. That was the Super Blackfoot, which came out in December 1992. Kit Num 5817.
Okay, Super Blackfoot, 5817. What changed? Did it still have the red frame?
Yeah, it kept the red ORV frame. But Tamiya significantly improved the rear end. They introduced a much more robust double wishbone rear suspension setup.
More modern geometry.
Exactly. And critically, they strengthened the gearbox casing itself.
Yeah.
Made it more rigid to stop the diff flexing and those gear skipping. This was a direct response to the biggest complaint.
But didn't the Super Blackfoot lose the Ford branding? That detailed F-150 body.
It did, yeah. It shed the official Ford license and came with a more generic pickup body.
Was that just cost-cutting, or were they maybe shifting focus slightly? Less pure scale, more towards bashing performance?
Probably a bit of both.
Yeah.
Maintaining those big licenses isn't cheap, especially globally. Dropping the Ford name saved costs, sure, but it also maybe signaled, yeah, a subtle move towards prioritizing durability for every day running over that extreme scale look of the original.
Makes sense. Okay, fast forward a few more years, we get to the final evolution of this ORV chassis.
That's the King Blackfoot. July 1997, Kitten News 58192. This was really the ultimate ORV version.
King Blackfoot 581922. What made it the king?
It took the stronger gearbox and the double wishbone rear from the Super Blackfoot. But the big upgrade was up front. It finally ditched the old frog-style front suspension.
Ah, okay, so a whole new front end.
Yeah, an all-new long-arm double wishbone front suspension.
Yeah.
This gave it much, much better handling and stability compared to the earlier models. It was a significant improvement in driving dynamics.
And visually, any unique identifier for the King Blackfoot?
Yes, the chassis color. For the King, Tamiya molded the ORV frame parts in black, not red. That black chassis is the key identifier for the 58192. And again, it had a generic sort of 90s-style pickup body.
So the Black Chassis King really marked the end of that whole ORV era for the Blackfoot nameplate.
Pretty much. After more than a decade, Tamiya was ready for something completely new.
Which transitions us nicely into Section 2, Nostalgia Refined. We're talking re-releases and the big shift to the WT01 chassis in the 2000s.
Right. But first, let's quickly touch on the ORV's comeback, sort of. In 2016, Tamiya did a re-release, the Blackfoot 2016, Kitten Up 58633.
30 years later, was it just a straight copy of the 86 original?
Not quite. It was more like an idealized memory. They made some sensible updates. It came with modern universal drive shafts, finally fixing that hex dogbone wear issue properly. And it included a modern electronic speed controller, the TBLE02S.
Okay, so it's easier to run with modern radios and batteries.
Exactly. The ESC makes it compatible with standard brush motors, but also, importantly, Tamiya's own brushless systems out of the box. But here's the clever bit.
What did they keep the same?
They deliberately kept the weak, original differential design. And they still use plastic bushings instead of ball bearings throughout.
Seriously? Why?
It was basically an invitation. They wanted new builders to experience that classic upgrade path. You get the awesome looks, but you're still encouraged, almost forced, to tackle the same mechanical shortcomings the original owners faced in '86. You get to fix it yourself. It preserves the tinkering aspect. Oh, and it lost the Ford logos, too, likely due to licensing again.
That's actually pretty cool. Okay, now for the radical departure, the WT01 platform. This sounds like where things got serious about durability.
Absolutely. This marks the Built to Bash chapter. It kicked off in December 2003 with the Blackfoot Xtreme Kitten 58312.
Blackfoot Xtreme 58312. So Tamiya finally ditched the ORV space frame. Why the big change?
Because the ORV, fundamentally, was designed for a lightweight buggy, the Frog. It just wasn't inherently suited for the weight and abuse of a monster truck. Tamiya needed a chassis designed from the ground up for toughness.
And the WT01 was the answer.
It was. WT01 stands for Wide Tread 2WD. It's a completely different beast. It's a monocoque chassis, meaning the chassis tub itself provides the structure. Much tougher, much more rigid than the ORV space frame.
So lower center of gravity, better balance.
Exactly. Engineered for durability, centered weight distribution. The whole driving field changes. You go from that sort of bouncy, slightly fragile feel of the ORV to something much more solid, planted, and predictable. It can take a hit.
And there was something else special about the WT01 design, particularly for performance guys. Its symmetry.
Yes, this was brilliant. The WT01 chassis tub is perfectly symmetrical front to back. Why does that matter? Because it made converting it to dual motor 4WD incredibly straightforward.
Ah, because it shared parts with Tamiya's 4WD trucks?
Precisely. It was closely related to the Wild Dagger and Twin Detonator chassis, which were already 4WD. So you could buy a second complete gearbox assembly.
And just bolt it onto the front of your Blackfoot Xtreme.
Pretty much. Add the necessary drive shafts and suspension arms, and boom, you've got a twin-motor 4WD monster.
Right.
That potential for easy 4WD conversion really defined the WT01's appeal for bashers.
Okay, so we have the super tough WT01, but people still loved the look of the original Blackfoot. Did Tamiya ever combine the two?
They did, and that's arguably the sweet spot for many. In 2011, they released the Blackfoot III, Kitten 58498.
Blackfoot III 58498. What was the formula here?
Simple and effective. It used the rugged, reliable WT01 chassis. All the durability, all the toughness, easy 4WD conversion potential.
But
It brought back the look. It marked the celebrated return of the iconic 1980s Ford-inspired hard body. Well, Ford-inspired, Again, no official logos this time, but you got that classic Blackfoot style.
So all the cool retro looks, but none of the original drivetrain headaches.
Exactly. The Blackfoot III is probably the most reliable, easy-to-live-with truck bearing the Blackfoot name Tamiya ever sold. Best of both worlds, you could say.
Okay, that covers the lineage beautifully. We've got the two main eras, the charming but flawed ORV models that required tinkering, and the super durable WT01 platform built for modern bashing. Now let's get practical. Section 3, the Ultimate Builder's Guide. Let's rank those essential hop-ups.
Right. Let's start with the vintage ORV chassis. So this applies to the original 58258, the Super Blackfoot 58110, the King Blackfoot 58192, and also that 2016 re-release, the 58633. The goals here are simple: boost durability and fix that bouncy handling.
Okay, lay it on us. What's the absolute #1 must-do first upgrade for any ORV Blackfoot?
No question, full ball bearings, always. It's the single most effective upgrade you can make. You're swapping out 16, usually 5x11mm plastic or metal bushings.
And the benefit is?
Drastically reduced friction in the drivetrain and wheels. This means more speed, noticeably longer run times on the same battery, and less wear on parts. It's the foundation. Don't skip it.
Okay, bearings first. Now, #2. This is interesting because you rank this before directly addressing the weak differential gears. Tell us why oil-filled dampers shocks are #2.
Yeah, this might seem counterintuitive, but it's about controlling the stress. #2, oil-filled dampers. The stock friction shocks on the ORV are terrible. They're basically just springs in a tube, giving you that uncontrolled pogo stick bounce.
Right, they don't actually dampen anything.
Exactly. And that excessive bouncing and instability, especially on landings or rough ground, puts huge shock loads through the chassis and straight into that weak differential. By fitting proper oil-filled shocks, like the Tamiya CVA Mini Shock Unit Set 2, that's part number 500519, you get actual hydraulic damping.
So, smoother ride, better control.
Which means less sudden stress on the diff gears. It helps prevent the skipping before it happens, plus makes the truck way nicer and safer to drive. Control equals reliability here.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so bearings, then shocks for control. Now let's tackle that differential clicking directly. What's the easy fix?
#3, drivetrain reliability via shims. This is the classic low-cost DIY solution. You basically add thin metal shims, like 0.5mm thick washers, behind the bevel gears inside the differential case.
What does shimming do?
It tightens up the gear mesh. It reduces the slop, stops the gears from being pushed apart under load, and physically prevents them from skipping over each other. It's cheap, effective, and pretty much essential if you're sticking with the stock diff.
But if you want to run, say, a hotter motor or just want peace of mind, you need something more robust.
Yes. Which brings us to #4, the ultimate drivetrain solution, the MIP Superball differential. Specifically, look for part number 162Ben.
Ah, the legendary MIP diff.
This is the fix. MIP basically engineered the solution Tamiya should have used from the start. It's a fully adjustable, high-quality ball differential that completely replaces the weak stock pot metal gear setup. It's smooth, strong, and can easily handle modern brushless power. It just works. Bulletproof.
Worth the investment if you're serious about running it hard. Okay, one more for the ORV.
#5, drive shaft upgrades. This mainly applies if you have an original 1986 model, 58058, with those old hex drive shafts. They will wear out. You really need to upgrade them to the tougher dog bones found in the re-release, or even better, a proper Tamiya Universal shaft set, like part 53908, for smooth, reliable power delivery.
Perfect. That gets the vintage ORV sorted. Now let's switch gears to the modern WT01 chassis. That's the Blackfoot Xtreme 58312 and the Blackfoot III 5849D. These are already tough, so what are we focusing on here? Refinement, performance?
Yeah, mostly refinement and unlocking its potential. It's a solid platform out of the box, but #1 is still the same.
Let me guess. Ball bearings.
You got it.
Yeah.
#1, full ball bearings. Even on the WT01, reducing friction is always the best first step for efficiency and runtime.
Okay, bearings done. What's the next simple, cheap, but crucial fix for the WT01?
#2, steel pinion gear. The stock motor pinion gear Tamiya includes is often made of soft aluminum. It wears down surprisingly quickly, especially with more power or just regular use.
And worn pinion leads to?
Stripped main spur gear, which means replacing more parts. Swapping that soft aluminum pinion for a cheap hardened steel pinion of the correct pitch, it's a 0.6 module for the WT01, is essential preventative maintenance. Do it early.
Good tip. Okay, #3, back to suspension.
#3, oil-filled dampers. Now, the WT01 often comes with CVA oil shocks, which is good,
Right.
but they usually need tuning. This upgrade is about getting the right oil weight and possibly springs for how you drive. Using something like the CVA Super Mini Shock Unit set, Part 50746, gives you better tuning options for handling jumps and high speeds properly.
So optimizing the existing system. Got it. Now, since this gearbox is much stronger,
Yeah,
can we talk power?
we definitely can. Number 4, brushless conversion. The WT01 gearbox is stout. It can handle a decent jump in power. Converting to a mild or moderate sensorless brushless motor and ESC system absolutely transforms the truck.
Huge speed increase.
Oh yeah. Massive increase in speed and acceleration. It turns it from a fun basher into a genuinely quick machine, ready for bigger jumps and, well, more extreme fun. The chassis can handle it.
And finally, the ultimate expression of the WT01's design.
Number 5, the ultimate modification 4WD conversion. We talked about that symmetrical chassis. This is where you realize its full potential. You buy a second complete WT01 gearbox assembly. The part number to look for is typically 18085153 plus the front universal shafts and suspension arms.
And bolt it all on the front.
Bolt it on, hook up a second motor, or sort out the power split, and you have created a dual-motor 4WD Blackfoot. The traction, the power, the stability, it's incredible. It becomes an all-terrain beast.
Wow. Okay, so that covers the hop-ups comprehensively for both eras. So let's synthesize this for you, the listener. We've really seen two distinct paths here.
Definitely. You've got the original ORV path, represented by models like the 580 or 058, which is all about scale looks, nostalgia, but demands mechanical sympathy and upgrades just to run reliably.
And then you have the WT of one path, the Xtreme 58312, and Blackfoot III 58488, engineered for durability, ready for modern power, and offering that ultimate 4WD potential. The model numbers really do tell a story of technical evolution.
But the Blackfoot's true legacy, maybe, isn't just the trucks themselves, it's the community it built. The fact that those initial weaknesses forced people to learn, to share knowledge, to become tinkerers and innovators, that's special.
People sharing tips online, in hobby shops, figuring out how to make it work better.
Exactly. That collective problem solving cemented its place in RC history. Its success wasn't despite the flaws.
In many ways, it was because of them. It created engagement. It created an aftermarket.
Precisely. So that leaves you with a really interesting choice, doesn't it? If you were going to build a Blackfoot today, which pass calls to you?
Do you embrace the challenge, the history, the pure nostalgia of wrestling with an original 580-388, knowing you'll need those shims, maybe the MIP diff and constant care?
Or do you go for the modern reliability, the easy maintenance, the bash-ready nature of the WT01-based Blackfoot 3, maybe even aiming for that awesome 4WD conversion, that fundamental choice classic challenge versus modern performance? That's the footprint the Blackfoot leaves on the hobby today.